Hey everybody, and welcome back for another video. In today's video, we are talking about a Minecraft movie. I think it's kind of important to know where we're coming from on this movie because um, we actually know absolutely nothing about Minecraft. What drew me into this movie was Jack Black and Jason Momoa. And even though they looked like they were playing really dumb characters, um, I still think it was really cool to go and just see them be weird. So. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and give you some non-spoiler thoughts about the movie, give the movie a rating, and then we'll talk a little bit about the movie in detail. So yeah, we know nothing about the game. I know the people in the
I've
theater sure did.
I've played the game. I just didn't really know what I was doing because I had like a 9-year-old kid that I was babysitting telling me what to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't know where to start. And honestly, the graphics of the game is a major turnoff for me. It's just not something I'm into. But again, there's a lot of people that are, and so perfect perfect reason to make the movie, right? You know, they've seen the success of Mario, they've seen the success of like The Last of Us. So, like there's a lot of video game movies and shows that are being made that are being super profitable and popular. So, why not make a Minecraft movie, especially since we can draw in all the kids, right? And then, throw Jack Black and Jason Momoa and let's see, what's her name? Danielle
Then,
Brooks and
oh yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge to bring in the adults, right?
I
So,
will say right off the bat, definitely better than Borderlands.
yes, Borderlands was not good by any means. And I didn't know anything about Borderlands either. I mean, I played Tales of the Borderlands, but that's not like the main game of Borderlands. So I knew really nothing about that, and it was bad. I didn't know anything about this, and it was a pretty fun ride to say the least. I'd probably say this is the most fun I've had with a movie in theaters so far this year. So kind of take that with what you will. I know there's some people I've seen online that, have played the games and they know a lot about this franchise, whatever you want to call it, um, and they've been disappointed. So I don't know. I think because I don't know anything about it and I was just kind of there to absorb what was happening, I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. And like I said, I just love Jack Black, so I watched him do his thing. And so overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie.
I normally like Jason Momoa quite a bit, but in this particular movie, I wasn't a fan of his character. It was almost like he was trying too hard, so he really wasn't my favorite. But I do like Jack Black, and I feel like if you're a Jack Black fan, this movie's gonna hit for you because I almost feel like they just gave him creative reign of like, hey, just go be yourself, just go have fun, be silly, be goofy, sing a song or two, just be yourself. And it reminded me, even gave me vibes of Nacho Libre, which I love that movie, but that is so long ago. Like he has done so many movies since then to have little callbacks to that type of a character, like it just, I don't know, it gave major Jack Black vibes, really.
Which, if you're not a fan of Jack Black and you're not a fan of Jason Momoa, you probably won't like this movie. Needless to say, of course, there's things within the Minecraft world that's happening, but I will say the center of attention is just them being themselves. So, if you're not a fan of that, you probably won't like this movie. Um,
I just to add to that, I think they really set the tone of the movie in terms of, the silly, goofy, it's not a very serious movie whatsoever. And you should know that by seeing the trailer anyway.
yeah, I will say that it seemed like all the people in our movie theater really enjoyed it. The kids loved it, parents loved it. People that aren't parents, like me, I enjoyed it. So I think this movie is going to do very well. I'm not going to give what the major cliffhanger was, but there was an after credit scene that is implying that there's going to be a sequel. So I think this is probably going to be, a video game movie that sticks around for sure. Um, I probably could see a trilogy maybe of it. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know anything about Minecraft, so I don't know where it could go aside from, the little piece that we saw at the end of this movie. So, yeah, I don't really think there's much more to say non-spoiler wise. I mean,
Jennifer Coolidge, because she's in the trailer.
yeah, we got Jennifer Coolidge, and she was just Jennifer Coolidge in this movie. If there's one thing that I would say bad about this movie, literally all of her scenes really, and it's not her. It's not her. It's just the scenes that she was a part of. She was kind of just given this filler, like there's a Minecraft character, and I forget what they call them. The dudes with the unibrows. And we see it in the trailer. She hits the dude with
They're the villagers, aren't they?
yeah, the villagers. So she hits one with her car, and then she basically goes on a date and falls in love with it. Um, and yes, those scenes are funny, but they, I don't know, they just felt like if we could have took those out, the momentum of the film would have been a bit better. But I mean, the movie itself is already just an hour 41. I think they don't, my guess is they didn't want to flirt with, a 90-minute movie, which I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, it's not that much less, but um, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of her scenes.
I would have to agree.
And again, it's not her fault. It's just that the scenes were very, very momentum breaking. They kind of take you out of the film as a little side story that does it have a payoff in the end? Yes, but at the same time, I just thought it
So
was dumb.
for basically a one-liner.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The people in the theater seem pretty shocked by it towards the end. So I don't know if that's a thing that's in the game, and we'll talk about it in spoilers, but I don't know. There was a lot of hooting and hollering that I really didn't understand, and I guess if I played the game, I would. Um,
I mean,
there was,
I could pick up on what the audience was surprised by or, what they were reacting to, but I'm talking about like the joke payoff of the scenarios happening with her was basically just a one-liner in the end.
yeah, there was one part in the movie where a kid in the audience got a good handful of people to laugh. There was a scene where one of the characters falls, and then when they hit the ground, they like black out for a second. Like even the screen is pitch black for like 2 to 3 seconds, and nothing. And when a kid yells out, fall damage, and then all the people that play the game, laughed about it. It took me a minute to process what he was talking about just because I hadn't played the game, but um, it was comical. All right, let's roll into ratings, and then we can talk a little bit more about what happened in the movie. I'll kick it off this time. I will say, like I said, it was the most fun I've had at the movies. I felt Jennifer Coolidge's character really broke the momentum of the film. And unlike the Mario movie, this movie, it was fun, it was good, but it didn't make me want to go play the game. And I feel like that's something that it should accomplish is that, it should make us want to go, as gamers, want to go and pick up the game or just, borrow it from a buddy and play it. And it's just not something I'd want to do. So I think I'm sitting at an 8 out of 10 for the movie. I thought it was above average, but it's got a major asterisk next to it with the idea that if you're not a fan of Jack Black or Jason Momoa, you probably will not enjoy this movie. So that's my rating with its asterisks. What's your rating?
Surprisingly, I think I'm gonna land right at an 8 there with you. Was not a fan of Jennifer Coolidge and her parts. Normally, she's okay. I wouldn't say I really am like a big fan of hers or anything, but she plays the dumb blonde in everything she does, and she does all right at it. But it's getting kind of old for me. Um,
I think so, it's weird because like you said, she plays the same character like in every role, and I feel like what it is like whenever people that are fans of her see, they're like, oh my God, she's gonna play that same role. Like, what's gonna be funny this time with, whatever she does, and they just kind of like draw to her. And so I don't know.
I feel like they didn't do her any justice with what she was doing in this film. I also was not really a fan of Emma Myers. She plays the kid's sister. This is gonna sound really strange, but honestly, she looked like a really young kid, and I think she's supposed to be playing an adult. And I know that I looked it up, she's 23 in real life. When I was her age, people always said I looked like I was 12, and honestly, she looked like she was 12, and she's not supposed to be 12, and so it just was really off-putting, and I feel like the character she was supposed to be, she just didn't fit as an actress. I feel like it was bad casting. It's not that she's a bad actress. I just feel like she didn't match the character. Um, I also was really not a fan of Jason Momoa, his character. I feel like he uh, overplayed it or tried to play it too hard of being like the who he is, in this film. Um, like I said, normally I'm a fan of his, but in this movie, I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. I feel like his lines just weren't and maybe it's because he was co-starring with Jack Black. Like that bar is set really high for that type of comedy that some of it was, getting there, but it wasn't, he just can't reach that level. Um,
They basically just told him, go have fun with Jack Black with this movie. Just go have a blast.
yeah. That being said, I do think Jack Black did a really good job in this film. And you could say the same thing as him as Jennifer Coolidge is that, a lot of times he plays basically the same character over and over too, of go be yourself in this movie. But I feel like his actually landed. I liked his character a lot in this film.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, let's roll into those spoilers. Uh, I think the movie did a pretty good job with the opening. I mean, there's a huge exposition dump right in the very beginning. Jack Black's character Steve is kind of narrating how, he it's I think it's mostly that monologue from the trailer where he talks about really wanting to be a part of the mines. And then eventually he goes there and he finds these two things. He puts them together and it opens up this portal to another world. And that's where he goes to, the Minecraft world. And so then he's talking about, what's going on there. And then this character that's like the bad guy, Malgasha, or is that how you pronounce her name?
Something like that, yeah.
And how, she wants the powerful cube that Steve found. And, uh, there's just this whole thing that's going on over there. And he sends the cube with his dog back to the real world and to hide it under his bed, his water bed specifically, while he's imprisoned with Malgasha. And so then we meet Jason Momoa's character Garrett, and basically he was a big time gamer. He set the record for a certain game and won accolades. But when he became an adult, he's basically a loser that owns a used video game store, and he's not making profits. He's gonna be evicted, and he decides to go buy a storage locker, and the storage locker is from Steve, like his old locker. And I don't, I guess, well, was it Steve's? So the one thing I didn't quite understand here was, the dog sent or put the thing under his bed, and then the house got sold. Was it the possessions from the house was thrown in a storage locker and then the locker sat there? Or was the locker the new owner's house? But what do you make of that?
You're thinking about it too hard. His stuff got put in a storage locker and nobody paid it, so it got put up for sale.
Okay, we're just gonna go with it. I'm just saying it didn't make a whole lot of sense, but
I'm with you. I understand.
this is how Garrett comes into possession of the cube because he finds it in the storage locker and then he puts it on his shelf at the store to sell. Then we start to meet the kids. So we meet Henry, and Henry is going to school. He's not the most popular kid, so to speak, but he is very smart. He can build rockets, and he builds a rocket. And his sister, Natalie, she is working at a company that's right next to the school that she's in charge of their social networking, trying to get more followers on their social pages. And one day, uh, Henry goes to actually make his jetpack, rocket, whatever you want to call it, and the school bullies cut one of the wires, which causes it to fly up, but then like fly way off to the side, and it blows up a part of the company that his sister now works for. So they got all this crazy stuff happening. Um, Henry is going to the principal's office, and he had earlier met um, Garrett just by popping into a store and trying to, say hi and see what he has for sale. And so he calls him and says, "Yo, I'll pay you $20 if you come here and say you're my uncle to get me out of trouble." Great. So he does that, takes him back to the shop, and this is where Henry sees the cube that Garrett got from the storage locker. And so he has the cubes. They read this little paper that says, "Don't put them together." So what do? They put them together, and it draws them to the portal that is in the mines. So they head that way, and uh, Henry's sister and also, what's her name? Dawn,
Yep.
they meet together, and the sister is like, my brother hasn't, or yeah, he hasn't returned home. I don't know where he's at, but his location says he's at the mines. And so they all of them meet together, and then they see the portal, and the portal basically pulls them in because they have the cube. So now we're in the Minecraft world. They do go over some of the, I would probably call the basics of Minecraft, where, they're there and a handful of minutes go by and now it's nighttime. Then they have like a scuffle with the monsters and skeletons at night. Um, but ultimately, what's going on, how do they eventually meet up with Jack Black is that his character is talking to Malgasha, and she says, "Hey, that cube is back in the realm. I need you to go get it, or else I'll kill your dog." And so he's like, "Okay, I'll go get it." And I think he's kind of lying to her, like he's telling her, "Yeah, I'll go do it," but then he's gonna go do his own thing. And so this is how the characters meet. He's going to find the cube. Our heroes that just got there, they're in trouble. They're about to die, basically. And so then he shows up and saves the day. And they meet, and now they're on this journey to go to the
They
mansion.
they shattered the outer shell of the cube, and
Yeah,
so
one of the
without that
skeletons did.
yeah, it was a scuffle that Garrett had with the skeletons.
Oh, I thought it was he was holding it, and one of them shot an arrow, and the arrow hit it, and it broke.
I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know he was with it when it happened, so he got blamed for it.
Yeah.
But they need a new one of those to be able to go back home.
Right, which is at this weird mansion that they have to get to. So basically, the majority of the rest of the movie is them traveling, to the mansion and having all their random encounters with different Minecraft things. I know every time there was something new that popped up on screen that was from the game, the crowd was oohing and eyeing. Um, Again, I didn't really know what it was, so I didn't get super excited. But I will say, though, with just the way that Jack Black and Momoa and our heroes were interacting with everything, I did think that it was enjoyable, even though I didn't know what the heck those things were. Is there anything that you want to mention about their journey that you thought was great or worthwhile to mention?
Um, we get Garrett kind of double crossing Henry because he finds out that there's some diamond mines on the way that aren't really on the way, but they're really out of the way, but they're there. So he needs to go there to he kind of blackmails Steve like, I know the kid said this is the deal, but really, if you want this orb, you're gonna have to take me to the diamond mine because I need some treasure because I'm broke.
Yep.
Um, so that throws a wrench in their journey and gives some heartache to the characters, but in the end, everybody's friends and kumbaya. Uh, there's a lot of I feel like they did a good job, at least from my understanding, of animating things like how the building works, how the crafting table works, how the dynamite works, how the creepers work. You know, all of those various things. I at least recognize some of them. I might not know really anything about them, but I can understand, like I know what a creeper is. Um, so I thought it was kind of cool to see all those different things. I feel like they showed a very wide variety of things from the game. So I thought that was pretty cool.
But they still have things in their back pocket for more, right?
Of
And
course.
um, yeah, I don't think we really need to deep dive into the whole journey just because it's basically a mix of, the funny stuff with our main characters. They get into trouble, they get out of it, rinse, repeat until they eventually get to that mansion. After they get to that mansion, they do, get the piece that they need, but then the big baddie shows up and steals it, and then they have to rally together to, make really cool armor that, again, probably is something from the games. I didn't really know too much about it. But then we have a pretty big epic battle towards the end, and our heroes do end up winning. In the commercial, I don't remember what they call it, but in the commercial, Jason Momoa's character, goes through Steve's stuff and he finds this little ball where you can throw it and then wherever it lands, you teleport to. So like that was a payoff towards the end of the movie because Henry throws it up to where the orb is that they need to get, and he tries to get up there and unfortunately he gets knocked down, but uh,
Well, even bigger payoff with that, I think, is, Steve saying like, "Oh, I only had to take down a whatever that creature was, no biggie," like, as if it was really difficult, and the kid winds up taking one down later to get that new orb, which again, it was really difficult, but just getting to see him like live through what Steve mentioned, I thought that was kind of
right.
neat.
Which I think is really good storytelling with this stuff. Like, clearly, the people that have played the game will know what that is. Even if they just saw it once, they'd probably be really happy about it. But for the people like us that haven't played the game, it's nice to see that payoff of like, oh, okay, you can transport you, when would you really want to use this? And then they show it, and then, it's like, oh, I get it. Kind of a thing. Uh, Yeah, I'm trying to think about if there's any. I mean, of course, while all this is going on, our heroes, when they first get to this Minecraft world, that's when one of the villagers goes through the portal and becomes part of the real world, and we get all the different things with Jennifer Coolidge's character. She hits it with her car, and then instead of, facing a potential lawsuit, she's like, "Can I take you out to dinner?" And so they basically go on a date, and then they fall in love. And by the end of the movie, it's talking plain English, which is what I thought probably surprised the audience based on the reaction. There was a funny joke or two there as well because when they're out to dinner, the waitress comes by and she says, "Are you finished?" And Jennifer Coolidge's character goes, "No, I think he's Swedish," like thinking that the waitress had said finish. Um, so there's little things like that play out, but overall, I do think that those scenes really broke up the movie. But I don't
I
know.
could have I could have done without her.
Something tells me that that was probably something more for the adults, because adults like Jennifer Coolidge, but also a little twist with the Minecraft character, right? To throw in there as well. There was an after credit scene, and this really excited literally everybody in the theater that knew what it was. So by the end of the movie, our heroes are going to go back to the real. our, real world. And Steve says, I'm gonna stay behind. I have more to do here. But then he says, screw it, I'm gonna go back. And so, Steve is back in the real world and he goes to his house and he says, uh, I used to live here. Is such and such still here? I forget what he said, like a chest or something. And the woman at the door answers and she's she introduces herself as Alex. Was that her name?
Yep.
And he says, great. And she takes him inside to go look for it. And my guess is this is another character in the movie or in the video game. Sorry.
From what I just Googled briefly, Alex and Steve are the default playable characters in Minecraft.
Gotcha. So it was very much like Sonic, right? Where at the very end they keep adding another character. I'm wondering, I'm gonna check real quick on IMDb if because we don't see her face. And so I'm wondering what actress was playing.
According to Screen Rant, the player is voiced by McKinnon, but Alice May Connolly, excuse me, is credited for the role as Alex's double. I don't know who McKinnon is.
Oh, so maybe because you specifically said double. Um, I half wonder if they just had somebody that had similar hair to the character from the game, and that's why they didn't show her face, so they can still have time to cast, who is going to play that character. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. Uh, I do recommend. I think it's a fun watch, especially if you have kids that love Minecraft and if you know nothing about it. Not a
Um,
bad one to sit through.
Kate McKinnon. She is a very popular actress from let's see, she's been in Saturday Night Live for a long, long time. She was Weird Barbie in the Barbie movie. She was in Ghostbusters. She's been in tons of other things. So there's speculation that she might be the one who's going to play Alex, but she was not who was on screen in this credits or in this post-credit scene.
Interesting. Honestly, like if I were to pick somebody to play that character, I think the woman from Jurassic World might be a decent one, just based on what I've seen from, what the Minecraft character is supposed to look like.
You're talking about Bryce?
Yeah,
Oh, I gotcha.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yep. I was thinking of the girl from Jumanji.
Oh, yep, that'd be another good pick,
What
especially
is
since she's worked with Jack Black already.
yeah. Karen Gillan.
Yeah. So, whenever that sequel comes out, I will definitely go see it, especially based off how this one went. And I could easily see this movie probably making close, if not $1 billion, just because of the appeal. All the kids are going to want to go see it. It is spring break right now for kids, so I think this was perfect timing for them to release it. So
Oh, they knew what they were doing.
they did for sure. But that's our video on a Minecraft movie. We both gave it an 8, so we both recommend seeing it. If you don't want to see it in theaters, definitely check it out when it comes to streaming. So, if you enjoy this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Drops a like if you like the video and drops a comment letting us know your thoughts on a Minecraft movie. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.